guys, welcome back to the Blacksmith Garage. Today we're going to show you something really simple that you can do anywhere in your garage. We're going to show you how to change the diff fluid on a rear Ultimate Dana 60. Now my camera crew took the day off, so this is going to be just solo, but I just want to make sure that you guys know that we do all this stuff in our garage. There's no big fancy lifts or anything, so you guys have the confidence to do it yourself. So follow along, really easy steps, pretty short video, and we're gonna show you how to inspect and change the diff fluid in your Ultimate Dana 60. All right, so what you want to do is take your ratchet and just put an extension on it. Now on the bottom of your Ultimate Dana 60, you're going to see the drain plug. It's right here. We've already taken ours out and let it drain, but what you're going to do is remove it. Let the fluid drain, and you're going to take out your drain plug and you're going to inspect the drain plug. Make sure there's no big chunks or anything of metal. There will be shavings. If this is your first time, which this is the blacksmith's first time, it's getting its 500-mile first diff fluid change. Make sure there's no big chunks or anything or any time, but there will be some foul shavings from the gears on the drain plug. Now let it drain, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the bolts from the diff cover. So we're going to go ahead and remove the diff cover bolts from the diff cover. Now on an Ultimate Dana 60, it's a 9/16 bolt socket, and just start. You're going to see that there is a small plate on one of them that has some numbers on it and so on. I would go ahead and keep this this piece here. It's not necessary, but I like to make sure to keep everything that comes with the axle, just in case we have any warranty issues and any of those numbers make a difference. Now keep removing each bolt and work your way around the diff cover until you can remove the diff cover. So to speed this process up, we're going to use an air ratchet. Now make sure that you're not over tightening or accidentally tightening the bolts. Make sure you start them with a manual socket or a manual wrench or ratchet, just to make sure that you don't strip anything or whatever. Just be extra careful with these bolts because it could be a bad day if you strip one out or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and speed up the process and use an air. So depending on what track bar you're using, we're running a rock crawler track bar. The top bolt can be pretty tough to get to. Now what we did was switch to a shorter socket, and we can get to it pretty easy to get it out. So next thing you have to do is get the cover off. Now they use a ton of RTV on these axles, so start manipulating it with a dead blow hammer, something soft, so you don't nick the or dent the cover. Not a big deal if you do. Also, you can start using a larger bladed screwdriver, but a few good hits should have this thing right off. There we go. So what you'll notice about this axle and how they put it together is they use a ton of RTV, right? And they use it on the edge of this axle. So there's on occasion where you're going to have to scrape some of this stuff off, which is fine. Use a small pocket knife or something of that nature, but you want to get all this stuff off, both the inside and the cover, so that it's a clean surface as we go to put everything back together and to put new fluid in. Now this is the time where you want to check your teeth. You want to check your locker, make sure that everything looks like it's in place. There's no teeth missing. there should have been no large pieces that fell out of this thing. If it did, you have an issue with probably your gears or your locker, and you want to stop there, take photos, take pictures, get them to Dana, and make sure you go after a warranty. But these gears in the blacksmith look pretty good. I don't feel any major pieces. I don't see any teeth being an issue on the gears. So it looks like we're pretty good. Just check this bolt here. Make sure there's nothing missing over here. So yeah, I mean these gears look healthy, and you want to make sure that you inspect them every time you take this cover off, so you can find potential warranty issues quicker. So part of this install is to obviously put the diff cover back on. You gotta have the diff cover in the new fluid back into your differential. Now, one thing that we found is not very good instructions on what you need to do to put it back on, right? We didn't find torque specs. We couldn't find part numbers for gaskets and all that stuff. So one thing that we did is we went to our local O'Reilly's. You can go to AutoZone or anything, any local automotive part store, and find a gasket for a Dana 60, right? And order that. Now, we just had them look up a 2012 Ram 3500. There's 3 axle choices in their system, and you just pick the Dana 60. We came out with this piece, right? So Felpro gaskets, right? RDS 6095-1, okay? And it's for a Dana 60. What you'll find inside is your gasket here, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of RTV. I'd rather use a gasket. One thing that I found is that it lines up with the holes perfectly. You can use this. I'm going to use this. What I did find, though, is at the top is a little bit, overhangs a little bit past the diff cover. So if it bothers you, you can trim it or use RTV. You can use RTV, gray RTV. But what we're going to use is this gasket, again, 2012 Ram 3500. It doesn't fit the diff cover perfectly. It does fit the bolt holes perfectly, so it will fit the Ultimate Dana 60. It's just a little overlap. Now, after you get these two surfaces, after you get your surface here all clean, you get your diff cover surface clean, we're going to go ahead and put it back on, right? Now you're going to start seeing what we meant by the gasket not fitting perfectly. You can see it on the top, you can see it on the bottom. However, it's in between the cover and the axle, so it'll work perfectly. It just won't. So the next step, after you get all the bolts started, you're going to grab your torque wrench, your 9/16 socket, and go around in a star pattern, torque each bolt to 30 foot-pounds. Now that's what I found on the heavy-duty Ram forums. This is a heavy-duty Ram axle, just for a JK. So I'm going to use their torque specs, and then again, star pattern, so everything comes together nicely, and then we'll go ahead and fill the diff. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the fill plug. There's going to be a little gasket, like RTV, white RTV, on the fill plug. Go ahead and remove it. And then to prepare to fill up the diff, clean your drain plug. You can go ahead and insert it back into the bottom. Now you don't want to tighten this too much. There we go. That should be good. Just enough so it doesn't, you don't want it to strip. Just enough so it's obviously going to stop any leaks or anything like that. So the next step is going to be grab your fluid, right? Now we have, I picked up some 75W140. It's synthetic. Now you're going to see the opinions all over the place about whether to use synthetic or just mineral-based non-synthetic oil in your diffs. Now the front of this is not a UD, not an Ultimate Dana 60, and it actually calls for a non-synthetic fluid. However, based on the instructions for the Ultimate Dana 60, it asks for synthetic fluid, so that's what we're going to use. So I picked this up. There's a ton of different brands. You can spend $25 a bottle. You can spend $6 to $9 per bottle. We went kind of in the middle. This was $12 per bottle. Valvoline, I've always used Valvoline, so it's personal preference. But again, 75W140 for the rear, for the UD60 is what you want. Now, it takes 2.6 liters in the rear diff. So I just went ahead and picked up 3 bottles, and we'll go ahead and get under the Jeep and fill it up. Anytime you're dealing with fluid, you want to go ahead and get your fluid catch underneath. You are going to put in 2.6 liters. Now, how you gauge that, right, is you might not know what 0.6 liter looks like. What I do is I fill up until it starts running a little bit out of this hole, out of the fill hole, and go from there. Now what I always do is cut one of the tops off and just grab my next bottle, put the top back on, and keep filling. Once that's complete, I'm going to go ahead and put the fill plug back in. Remember, don't over tighten these. All you need to do is make sure that they're not going to allow any leaks. Make sure your drain plug is good, perfect. All right. So once you're done with putting the fill, the drain plug, the bolts all should be torqued to 30 pounds. Fill plug, drain plug, all in. Go ahead now and inspect for any leaks that you might feel, and that's it. We just changed the diff fluid in your Ultimate Dana 60. Now the blacksmith, we took the diff cover all the way off, inspected the gears, inspected the locker to make sure that our 500-mile break-in was perfect. It all checked out really well. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and feel free to leave a comment. Come and join us out on Facebook by liking our Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram, and come join the crew on blacksmithcrewoffroad.com, a forum for all Jeepers. And we look forward to seeing you out on the trails.